So here we are, 60 plus days into his presidency, and we want to get your grades and your impressions of how President Trump is doing. So, Tony Ann, let me start with you. What grade you give President Trump? An A already. Based on what?
I feel that he's trying very hard. I feel he's already getting stuff accomplished.
Such as?
Well, I feel that he is trying to, loosen up the restraints on business. And I know he's trying with the health care, but I know that didn't work out as well as we had hoped.
It didn't work out at all.
Yeah, well, it's true. But they'll go up again, and then you have to adjust it a little bit.
Okay, Pax, what grade do you give the president?
I give him an A.
Based on what?
The TPP, the Keystone Pipeline, the Dakota Access Pipeline, the travel restriction, fantastic. And I know it's...
Wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
The travel ban hasn't gone into effect. The travel ban has been shot down by 2 courts.
He took the initiative. He did it, which is exactly what he said he was going to do. Every single thing that he's done is exactly what he said he was going to do.
But healthcare, some people put in the lost column. The travel ban is not yet in effect. The budget has not gotten a hearty agreement from lots of people. He said he'd get rid of DACA right away. He's not done that for the Dreamers. He said that he would get rid of the Iran nuclear deal on day 1. That has not yet happened. The wall hasn't been built, yet he hasn't defeated ISIS in 30 days.
Normally we give presidents 100 days, and I don't think this president even got a weekend.
How long, realistically, will you give him to accomplish some of those things?
I think we need to see where we are in 2 years. See where we are midterm.
Okay, Josh, what grade do you give the president?
I give President Trump an A.
Based on what? What accomplishments do you think he can hang his hat on thus far?
I think it's premature to ask that question. 60 some odd days into his presidency, he has a 4-year term. If you read The Art of the Deal, you see the similar, in the business world, you see similar pressures and opposition and defeat, and he just keeps coming back and coming back.
Sarah Marie, what grade do you give the president?
I give him an A.
Paulie?
I give President Donald Trump an A. And to be honest with you, if I had a marker, I would put a plus next to the A.
What do you base that grade on?
We see that he's working with Ford Motor Company to build 3 plants in the United States and a major league investment in the United States, as opposed to moving those jobs or keeping those jobs in Mexico. All right, that's huge.
Billy?
I'd give him a B.
What?
I don't give anybody an A. I'm really looking to him, which is why I voted for him, to point out in this country what needs to be pointed out, that I think politicians in general, no offense, the media in particular, has kind of covered up.
Such as?
The way he's changed the debate on things like illegal immigration. He obviously raised that to the forefront of discussion.
I think the last, 70 days or whatever it's been now, have been positive because we've started to learn a lot more things. We've started to see...
Such as?
Just how the process works in Washington. The fact that healthcare failed, I think, shows business and politics are not always the same thing. Because if they were, I think that deal would have gotten done and would have gotten done a lot more quickly. So maybe what that tells us is politics needs to change.
Business people and negotiators are by nature people that bring opposing parties and different people of different factions together. And that's what he's attempted to do.
But why wasn't he able to close the deal for healthcare?
Because politicians are dividers.
But isn't Donald Trump the master deal maker that was going to be able to bridge that divide?
But if you're talking to an empty chair, what divider? There's nothing that you can. There's no bridge across this gulf.
I'm just really surprised at how much opposition he's getting from the right as well. Mm-hmm. I'm very disappointed because I'm very conservative.
You mean the House Freedom Caucus, the most conservative?
Yeah, absolutely.
They should get on board.
It's definitely, without a doubt.
How has your life changed, or has it changed in these past 60-plus days since President Trump was elected?
It's this very intangible kind of sense of, forget about all the noise, forget about the Russia, forget about, all of, Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, all the noise that they're making. If you kind of tune all that out, there is just this very quiet restoration of law and order and security. We're addressing illegal immigration. We're starting to do deportations. We're not playing this kind of shell game with radical Islamic terrorism. There's somebody in the Oval Office that is.
But what has he done specifically, tangibly? What has he done in the past 60-plus days to fight ISIS?
Well, I mean, we had, there was an attack that was done in Mosul.
It went terribly awry.
That one was considered bad, but I know that we have somebody who's going to be very aggressive and not let up on this.
It's amazing to watch this in retrospect and see, even on election night, how people were scoffing at him. It was like people were laughing, literally laughing in his face about the prospect of him being elected. And he got elected. And we don't know how, as far as the votes and fraud and everything else. I mean, my assumption is that he probably would have gotten elected by a higher number than what the results actually showed.
But are you saying that you believe that there were 3 to 5 million illegals who voted?
Oh, well, I know that in New Hampshire, I've seen it. I've seen busloads of people.
Again, this is what we keep coming back to. When you say you've seen it, do you mean a dozen or do you mean 3 million? There's a difference.
Well, obviously, there's only 1.5 million people in New Hampshire, so I didn't say 3 million people.
Well,
in New Hampshire.
the number that President Trump said was 3 to 5 million illegals in California.
I don't doubt that.
No, he said in California.
Extrapolating based on what I've seen with my own eyes, busloads of people coming in, whether they're illegal, meaning they came into the country illegally, or they're illegal voters. They came over from Massachusetts into New Hampshire.
So just to be clear,
who cares,
I care, because just to be clear, you saw with your own eyes busloads and busloads of people coming from somewhere other than New Hampshire to vote. You saw that.
Well, I know Josh has seen it, yeah, and I've seen it too.
Josh, did you see busloads and busloads of people coming in from somewhere else?
I wouldn't characterize it as busloads and busloads.
What have you seen?
But I've seen cars coming in from out of state that are full with out of state plates. I live right across the street from the polling place in my ward. It's noteworthy to consider when 8 or 10 people get out of 2 or 3 cars.
And you think that people from Massachusetts are driving across the border to vote in your ward?
I believe that's the case, yeah. And whether it's Massachusetts or Maine or some other state, there are people coming across, and it's not fair to wholesale characterize it as voter fraud, because maybe they're borrowing their, you can...
Maybe they are. Billy, are you sticking with that you've seen busloads or no?
I have seen busloads. I guess I can't cite the busloads that I've seen and where I've seen them and stuff, but on television I've seen it.
Basically, as far as I'm concerned, if I'll say the alt-left, the loons on the left, and the ultra-right conservatives would stay out of his way, everything would be perfect.
So you blame the House Freedom Caucus
Absolutely.
as well for not having progress on health care?
Let's face it, he's been taking attacks from both sides from the beginning, okay? I don't know if you've read his book, The Art of the Deal, but I've read it before. He goes into things long-term. He's not a short-term guy. He's willing to stick in the game for 10 years to get things done. Donald Trump, first of all, they are not going to wear him down. He is the master of wearing everybody else down.